Now we are going to study hypersensitivity reactions. There are two types of hypersensitivity reactions. First is immediate hypersensitivity reaction and delayed hypersensitivity reaction. Immediate hypersensitivity reaction is of it consists type 1, type 2, type 3, while delayed consists type 4. What is hypersensitivity reaction? It is a type of reaction when an allergen or antigen enters into the body, an inappropriate immune response to it happens. So that kind of reaction is hypersensitivity. This inappropriate immune response to this antigen or allergen, it may cause damage or discomfort to the body, and it may be also fatal if it's not treated. So this immune hypersensitivity reactions can be reduced or suppressed by immune suppressants or modulators. So there are four types of hypersensitive reactions. We will go through each one of these. First is type 1 hypersensitive reaction. In this type 1 hypersensitive reaction, the other names are IgE mediator or anaphylactic hypersensitive reaction. The time period, the action occurs within 2 to 30 minutes. When histamine is released, so when allergen or an antigen enters into a bloodstream, IgE antibody releases. So the time period is 2 to 30 minutes, and when allergen enters into the body in the bloodstream, histamine is released, due to which antigen antibody complex is formed on macrophages or B cells. This complex helps in producing the hypersensitive reaction. The example is fever, asthma, blood, asthma, food allergens, eczema. So these are all the reactions or hypersensitive reactions due to type 1 hypersensitivity. It is due to the histamine binding to the antibody. The next is type 2. In this type 2, it is antibody dependent cytotoxic hypersensitivity. Type 2 hypersensitivity is also known as antibody dependent cytotoxic hypersensitivity. In this, the time taken to show action is 5 to 8 hours. So antibody present on the immune cell firstly digests the antigen and it activates complement system. This complement system acts against antigens. So this type 2 HS hypersensitivity is mediated by IgG and IgM. Examples of type 2 hypersensitivity reactions are blood transfusion reactions, hemolytic anemia, and erythroblastosis fetalis. And the next is type 3 hypersensitive reaction. Type 3 hypersensitivity reaction is also called as immune complex mediated hypersensitive reaction. It takes about 2 to 8 hours to show action, while type 2 HS shows 5 to 8 hours. It takes about 2 to 8 hours to show action. It is activated by complement system. IgE antibody is also involved. So examples of type 3 hypersensitive reactions are serum sickness and systemic erythromacrosis. And the type 4 is also called as cell mediated or delayed hypersensitivity. Since it is cell mediated, T cells are responsible for this, and the time taken is 24 to 72 hours. Examples are contact dermatitis, graft rejection. That is nothing but when an organ transplantation occurs, graft rejection happens. And the fifth is also known as stimulatory hypersensitivity. It increases the activity of immune system. So Immunosuppressants are mostly used to avoid this. Example, thyroid and Graves' disease. These four are the hypersensitive reactions. Immediate and delayed hypersensitivity reactions are types of hypersensitivity. Immediate is of three types. In immediate hypersensitivity, type 1, type 2, type 3 are included. So immediate is nothing but the time taken to show action is very less. In the type 1, 2 to 30 minutes are taken, while in type 2, 5 to 8 hours are taken, and in type 3, 2 to 8 hours are taken only. But while in type 4, 24 to 72 hours are taken to show the action. What is hypersensitive reaction is nothing but it is a type of reaction due to inappropriate immune response to the antigen, which may cause damage and may be fatal to our body. And type 1 hypersensitivity is caused due to histamine. When allergen enters into the body, histamine is produced and it forms a complex with antibody which causes this type 1 hypersensitive reaction. Example of is nothing but fever, asthma and food allergens, eczema. It is also called as IgE mediated or anaphylactic hypersensitivity. Another name for type 2 is antibody dependent cytotoxic hypersensitivity. Antibody dependent cytotoxic hypersensitivity, and this it is mediated by IgG and IgM antibodies. IgG and IgM antibodies. The example is blood transfusion, hemolytic anemia and erythroblastosis fetalis. Now the type 3 another name is immune complex mediated hypersensitivity. Immune complex mediated hypersensitivity, and it is also activated by complement system. IgE antibodies also involved. Type 3 example is serum sickness, rheumatoid arthritis and systemic erythromacrosis. And the type 4 is known as cell mediated or delayed hypersensitivity. So T cells are response, and example is contact dermatitis and graft rejection. While type 5 is stimulatory hypersensitivity and increases activity of immune system. The examples are thyroid and Graves system. So all we need to remember is the another name, time taken, mediated by which antibodies, and the examples. So immediate hypersensitivity and delayed hypersensitivity. Type 1 hypersensitivity takes just 2 to 30 minutes to show action. The another name is nothing but IgE mediated or anaphylactic hypersensitivity. The example is fever, asthma, food allergy, etc. It is caused due to histamine release, and it is IgE mediated. And the type 2 takes 5 to 8 hours to take action. It is mediated by IgG and IgM. The example is blood transfusion, hemolytic anemia, erythroblastosis fetalis. And the type 3 takes 2 to 8 hours to take action. It is a complex immune complex mediated. So the another name of type 3 is immune complex mediated hypersensitivity, activated by complementary system, and IgE antibodies also involved. Example is rheumatoid arthritis, serum sickness and systemic erythromacrosis. And the type 4 is cell mediated or delayed hypersensitivity. T cells are responsible. Examples nothing but contact dermatitis and graft rejection. The time taken is 24 to 72 hours. And in the type 4 hypersensitivity, type 5 it is a stimulatory hypersensitivity, and the examples are thyroid and Graves' disease. Thank you.